Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where as you can see here, I have used the cheat menu to move our colony over to a location that has among the highest concentration of ore here on the moon. So let's hop over real quick to our survey satellite, not set as target, switch to, there we go. So let's hop over to the survey satellite and I'll show you what we've got going on with this overlay here. So we're currently in the heat map mode for the overlay. And if we look at the moon, this is where we are. We're like right in the center of this blotch right here. So you can see here that we are in, if we switch over here to ore, this is the ore view here. This is metal ore and this is ore. So at this point, that's what we've got. This is not updating, apparently. Hang on. Heat map. There we go. That's metal ore. That's ore. So that's what we've got. We're currently here for ore. And if we increase the cutoff here, this is 10%. This is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So we can see that we're between 80 and 90% concentration here. And yet, if we come back here and we turn on our drill, it tells us insufficient abundance, needs at least 2.5%. So in this location, we know for a fact that we are somewhere between 80 and 90%. This tells me that we are 1000% bugged with our vanilla miners. This is not what I wanted to switch to. Okay, so we're going to hop over here, and we're going to turn on our miner, and we're going to bring this back. I just wanted to cheat it over here to do some troubleshooting, right? So that's fine. My current suspicion is that the mod that is causing this is Kethane. That mod I had a bit of a hard time getting going to begin with, and I think that's what we've got going on here. So if we start this, you can see, yeah, insufficient abundance, needs at least 2.5%. We know for a fact that this area for ore is between 80 and 90%. So this should not be a thing. Now, I'm not going to save this. We're going to reload the save that should be here. This should be us back at our previous site because we don't want to be over here anyway, right? What we want is just ore drills that work. We don't even need it to be at a, like, rapid rate. We just need them, like, we don't need to be in an efficient location for this. We just need them to be functional. So I brought an additional Drill-O-Matic Junior mining excavator over here. We've only got 2 left there. And you'll also notice that in the cheats right now, I have infinite electricity and ignore max temperature on. This is for testing, and the ignore max temperature is because we've had issues with these overheating randomly. So we're going to leave on ignore max temperature for the time being. And otherwise, this should be absolutely fine. Dunvin should probably climb in here. There you go. And we're going to head back to the VAB here because I want to take a look and see if there are any modded parts that can mine specifically ore. We know that those augers mine metal ore, and we know that that's fine. It does an absolutely okay job at doing that. That's not a concern. So with that in mind, we need to find a way to mine ore that is not fundamentally bugged. So let's head into the VAB, and we are just going to take a look at what parts there are here. So I'm going to search for ore, and we'll see what we've got. So we've got the Drill-O-Matic Juniors, which we know we have a hard time actually using. And let's see here. Planetary use, 30% base efficiency, sure. Unlike its larger cousin, this smaller model is only suitable for ore concentrations in excess of 2.5%. So maybe what we need to bring is the big boys. I bet you that's what we need right now. Okay, we can definitely do that. So let's open up our first colony project, and we can bring this back over. So all we need to do then, in theory, is get rid of the Drill-O-Matic Juniors and put regular Drill-O-Matics on this. Now, this is going to be a lot heavier, and we probably don't need 4 of them. This is fine, I think. Yeah, let's bring 4 for now, and it's going to be interesting getting them off of there. What we don't need on here is that smelter. So let's get the smelter off of here. These are attached to the smelter? Really? I didn't expect that. Okay. Get them off of there. And let's just put this on something like this. To be honest, we don't even need the rechargeable battery banks. We'll bring the extra thermal control systems. So this is mostly going to be the fuel tank. This will be something like this. Okay. That should hopefully do the trick for us. Because the Drill-O-Matic Junior apparently only works in excess of 2.5%. I don't know if that's modded. I've never run into Drill-O-Matic Juniors not working in those locations that we've landed on with it before. This is a metal orb drill. This is an inline drill here. That's interesting. Actually, that's very interesting. Let's bring both of these. So an inline drill here would be something like this, and then that would deploy... That's not all that inline, to be honest. So that's clearly intended to be radially mounted. I'm wondering about energy consumption. 7.5 versus 1.88, and then this outputs 0.75 ore versus outputting... Okay, yeah, so this inputs 22.5 per second for 1.5 per second ore. So I'm thinking that those inline drills are probably going to be a lot better for us. It's half the ore output for a quarter of the electric charge, basically. And what's the mass? 1.25 versus 0.9? Yeah, this is going to be much easier for us to move as well. So I'm thinking an inline drill. These do not radially attach, though. Okay. We'll just try this. We'll see if this works. Let's get this up to the moon. This should be a very, very light payload indeed. And let's save this as the second colony project. This is a big lesson learned. If we need to bring the big drills, that's fine. We'll bring the big drills. So let's get this on over here. Do we have a KER on here? And antenna. We should get a better antenna on this because landing was awkward previously. So let's put a better antenna on this, actually, now that I think about it. And I believe we did have a KER, but we may have removed it. No, we've got a KER here. Okay, so let's revert this back to VAB. And I just want to put on a more powerful antenna. We should honestly probably have a relay antenna on this because we should have a relay antenna on our base anyway. So let's just slap on a big old relay antenna, something like that. Okay. Now we'll launch this off. We'll see if that relay antenna survives ascent without a fairing. It should be okay, I think. I hope. That would be the dream. But according to the description, this does not have that 2.5% requirement. Honestly, like I said, I don't care how efficient this is as long as we have some amount of flow, right? So that'll be fine. And this staging is definitely broken. Let's do that. There we go. We'll put this in kill rot and throttle up, and off we go. So we probably have burnt out of this yet. Or actually, no, that's almost burnt out. Now it's burnt out. Excellent. So taking a look at our thrust to weight here, it's pretty okay. So we're going to want to go up pretty high here in order to avoid the heating on these unprotected elements. That's going to be a fairly important deal. So we're going to go up for a while, I think, before we head over to the horizon. Yeah, I want to get a lot of altitude here. Just straight up. Straight up until we hit something like 30 kilometers on the apoapsis, and then we can start heading over towards the horizon. I just want a lot of vertical speed. So that's 25 kilometers on the apoapsis, looking good. That's 30, and let's start heading over to the horizon. I'm doing this manually, and we're just slowly heading over here. We're now at 50 kilometers altitude. We really don't need much more vertical speed. We need a lot more horizontal. So I'm just moving us right on over. And horizontal velocity up. There we go. That'll do. You can see time to apoapsis currently holding. Now it's going up. That's good. We're going to build up a lot of horizontal speed here. SRB is going to be gone now. That was a bit of a spicy decoupling, but it's okay. We're over gimbaled here. I'm going to turn down the gimbal limit on this thruster to about 30. That looks better. And we're going to hold here until the apoapsis height is, I don't know, maybe like 150. I feel like we need quite a lot more horizontal speed. What's our horizontal speed? Yeah, we do need a fair amount more horizontal speed here. So let's just continue to burn here for a while. I think 150 for the apoapsis height is solid. That'll be fine. I just realized we don't have solar panels on this. And barely any battery. No solar panels was fine previously. Not this time. Much less fine. No doubt about that. Let's take a quick peek here. Yeah, you can see our electric charge draining fast. So we do need some amount of solar panels on this. That's going to be a significant issue. Okay. We could just bring this down, or we could revert it. This wasn't a simulated flight, so I'm going to revert this back to the vehicle assembly, and we'll charge ourselves the cost of that. So that's 91,000. That's a little bit painful. Okay, so this is 100,000. You know what? I'll just round it. There we go. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we'll call that good. 91,006, but it's not a big deal. So that seems okay. We've charged ourselves the cost of that, and we need solar panels on this. So we're definitely going to do that. I'm just going to put on some like little 1x6s here. That should do the trick. There we go. Now we'll lift this thing off. That should be fine. So I think we've solved the ore problem then, is my guess, just by using this different part. That's very good to know, and this is one of those things that a Pathfinder is excellent for finding these sorts of problems. I don't expect future problems, although we're probably going to want to take apart our current colony. I know that sounds kind of wild, but we probably want to... Well then. We'll just bring that back to launch. All of the parts are still here. We're just going to send out a Kerbal to reattach those. I forgot that I moved the staging. But as I was saying, we're probably going to want to take apart our current colony and reassemble it back on the Stampatron. Most likely. Assuming that the Stampatron doesn't keep floating upwards like it was. That was a little awkward. Or we could just put it on legs or something. But let's just have our Kerbals move this straight on up there. And throttle up. And we'll put this on kill rot. And once again, off we go. We picked up a little bit of awkward kick off to the side there. I'm just going to position ourselves a little bit out over this direction for right now. I want to be right at a 90-degree heading here. Kind of fighting to be at that 90-degree heading. There, about here. We had a bit of an awkward kick there, no doubt about that. Okay, so we're just, once again, going to be getting a lot of vertical velocity. We're getting slightly more horizontal this time because of that slightly odd kick there, but that's okay. Cool. So we're just going to burn here for a while, and then we'll make our way over to horizontal like before. We had no overheating issues, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. So we're currently holding at about 17-kilometer apoapsis, 20, 25, and 30. Okay, making our way right on over to horizontal velocity up, trying not to turn too fast so that we start tumbling, because that could be problematic. And I'm watching our apoapsis height and noting our apoapsis height is definitely not quite as high as it was before. That's okay. So we're just going to park right about here, horizontal velocity up, time to apoapsis going up. Okay. We're going to be losing these SRBs shortly. Hopefully this isn't too spicy. That was actually less spicy than last time, so that's good. We can see that apoapsis has risen up, but we have lower vertical speed than we did last time, but it looks fine. I'm not seeing any issue here. Once again, we're over gimbaled here. I'm going to cut this down to about a 30% gimbal so that we don't have that oscillation occurring. You can see we're definitely still fighting it, but it should even out. We were a little over gimbaled previously, and I think that was causing us issues. Okay, so we're going to burn this stage completely out, and then we are going to want to utilize this stage to achieve orbit, of course. Actually, never mind. Cutting engine here. That's 150, so let's go ahead and burn here. We're going to need to stage in the middle of this, probably. Yeah, we've got 115 meters per second, so that seems fine. Let's just align to this node. This is going to be very, very slow turning indeed. Luckily, we've got 6 minutes until this burn. And we're going to be exiting the atmosphere shortly here. Why can't we extend these photovoltaic panels? There's no button here to extend them. There's no button here either. We have no probe control. Because we have no electric charge, we ran out of electric charge already? That's awkward. That's really awkward. I didn't expect to run out of electric charge on that coast. That's wild stuff. Well, we got to do that again. So what I'm going to do is, in order to fix that, I'm going to put unretracted photovoltaic panels here. Like that. That'll fix it, but we're going to have to get the cost reduced again. So -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Okay, problem solved. Let's try that one more time. I'm surprised we're having that particular issue. I did not expect... Well, it's because we started turning, actually. The reaction wheel was what did it there. If we had just coasted, we would have been fine. But because I told it to start turning, that's what drained all of our energy. Yep, that'll do it. Well, these solar panels will fix that. No more problem. So, kill rot, throttle up, and okay. I need to change that in the VAB because I'm going to keep forgetting that I did that manually. Okay, let's move this here. There we go. Now we can launch this thing. Now it'll work. There should be no further problem, assuming we're not trying to land on the dark side. If we're trying to land on the dark side of the moon, we could run into problems. So we're probably going to have to wait until we're on the light side, because we're going to be reliant on solar panels. Well, we have an alternator on our engine, but we need to not run out of power, right? Running out of power is really, really bad in this. So that's absolutely a concern. Okay, let's get out of here. No strange kick that time, so let's just put ourselves on surface up for right now. There we go. And we're going to burn here. Wait a second. Okay, these are Drill-O-Matics. For a second I was like, are those Drill-O-Matic Juniors? No, they're not. So that is absolutely fine. So in the future, when we land on Duna, we will have these problems figured out. We'll have a whole new set of problems, I'm sure. But we'll have these problems figured out, and we should, in theory, be able to do this in far fewer launches on Duna. So that is the idea. So at this point, we're at an apoapsis height of about 15 kilometers. Everything is looking good on this flight. And we are going to slowly ease over soon, but not quite yet. We want more vertical speed, for sure. So that is 25 kilometers, 28, 29, and 30. I'm putting us in kill rot, and we are immediately easing our way over. We don't want to go too hard here, because if we go too hard, then we are very, very likely to flip. Which would, of course, be bad while we've got these SRBs running. That would kill a lot of our momentum. So over we head here. And I'm just watching our apoapsis height. It's quite high this time, so that's understood. Whoa, hang on. Why did surface velocity up want to take us far back over the other way? That was wild stuff. Why are we wanting to sit here? This is supposed to be surface velocity up. Because we want horizontal velocity up. I'm dumb. Okay, so that problem is solved. Okay, I'm going to cut these engines soon. We have a lot more vertical speed than last time, that's for sure, and we can see we're over-gimbaled here. But we're just going to go to 200. That'll be fine. So that's 200, and now we can extend these solar panels. So these solar panels, not even necessary with that ascent profile. But that was also not the intended ascent profile, because I was going to surface velocity up instead of horizontal velocity up. Oh, well. So for now, let's take ourselves out to the apoapsis, and we are going to get a fair amount of horizontal speed here. This is going to be a pretty hefty burn. Yeah, this is not terribly shocking that it's going to take a bit of oomph to get us into orbit here. So let's lock to the node, and since we have our solar panels out, we shouldn't have any power issues, and indeed we do not. So at this point, we can physics warp until we're at the node. There we go. And now we can warp to our burn point, which is only a couple of minutes away. And then we can get ourselves into orbit. Okay, so 210 mark. Okay, we're still over gimbaled here. I want to drop this gimbal limit down to like 10%. There we go. Okay. This is still wildly over gimbaled as well. Let's put this at 10%. Looks good. So we'll get ourselves into orbit here and then kick ourselves over into a lunar intercept. A standard procedure at this point. It's not going to be particularly challenging. But that is going to be something for next episode, because this took us a little longer than expected. I was intending to land this episode at the destination site, but we ran into some design flaws, for sure. No doubt about that. So let's get this thing into orbit, and then we'll take this over next episode and get it landed and get our colony online. That'll be fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members. I'm just waiting until we get into a decent orbit here. There we go. A very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.